guys? LocsNLoad firearm reviews here today. Alright guys, so I'm gonna make a video about a question I get a lot of times from first time gun buyers or people who don't have a gun but are looking, where should I get my first gun or what should my first gun be? And as a civilian, I'm always going to recommend that your first gun be a handgun. For us civilians, 99% of the time, if we ever get in real shooting or whatever firearm we have most readily available to us is our handgun. If you're thinking, by your bedstand, you're typically going to have a handgun there. If you're looking for concealed carry, it's going to be a handgun. If you're looking to keep a weapon on you or in your vehicle, it's going to be a handgun. So the most common answer I'm going to give people is that your first firearm should be a handgun. Now, to be specific, I'm going to say a compact handgun. And now, not a lot of people understand what a compact size handgun is. And so I always have to break it down for them and tell them that there's usually 3 different flavors that handguns come in: subcompact, compact, and full size. And each one of these has their pros and cons. Now, I'm going to start at the low end, subcompact. Now, this is my Glock 43X. This is typically classified as a subcompact. Basically a smaller version of a full-size handgun that is ideally suited for concealed carry. It's lightweight, smaller, so you can carry it on your person a lot easier without the burden to carry such a heavy and big firearm on you. But like I said, there are pros and cons to this. Now, the pros of a subcompact is that it's lighter to carry, easier to conceal, and for people with smaller hands, it's probably something that they're gonna more enjoy shooting and have a better control and be able to manipulate the controls of that firearm a lot easier than something like a Glock 17 handgun. Now, the cons of a subcompact handgun is that there's going to be increased recoil, felt recoil, because a smaller handgun with a shorter barrel is going to have more felt recoil. So you're going to really want to practice with that handgun and make sure your grip is up to par and you're truly gripping that firearm the way you should, because it's going to kick a little bit more than a full-size handgun. Now, sight radius. You're going to get a smaller sight radius with a shorter barrel, meaning when you use the handgun, it's 9 times out of 10 going to be something up close, definitely within like 25, 50 yards, right? That's one of the main added benefits of a subcompact, or what the subcompact is most suited to do is for close range engagements. And then limited capacity. With that shorter gun, smaller gun, you're not going to get as many rounds in that firearm as, say, Glock 17. My Glock 43X comes with a 10-round flush magazine. Now you go out to Shield Arms and get 15-round magazines. I've used them before. I don't use them anymore because, they just weren't as reliable to my standard, and they do rust easier. At least the ones I had. I don't know if they made a new ones. I've seen that made new ones, so it might work a little better. But the experience I had with the older Shield Arm 15-round magazines just left me a little bit concerned, so I went to the Glock OEM 10-round magazines. Alright, so I'm going to keep it short and simple. I'm not going to go into too much detail and confuse you guys. So subcompact, lighter to carry, easier to conceal, better for people with smaller hands. The downsides: more felt recoil, limited capacity, and it's not going to be something you're going to really want to use at the distance. It's really a real close range handgun. Now, this leads me to what I said earlier. What I recommend people get is a compact handgun. Typically something like a Glock 19, a SIG P320, a CZ P07, those type of handguns, because those handguns are more suited to blend both roles of a subcompact and a full size. That's what as a compact is, right in the middle. It can't do everything great, but it can do both pretty good. So my first handgun was a Glock 32, but I got a 9mm barrel that basically made it a Glock 19. And I recommend that compact size handgun for a first time gun buyer, because that handgun is gonna have to serve 2 purposes. Something you can conceal carry and carry with you, as you're going out into the world, going shopping, going with your family, you're in and out of your vehicle, and also something that you can use for home defense. So compact handgun, we're going to use a Glock 19 for reference, about a 4-inch barrel, comes with a 15-round flush magazine. And that is basically kind of like the standard of compact handguns. SIG 320s, 15 rounds, CZP07, 15 rounds. So the pros of a compact handgun: you can conceal carry it, you can use it for home defense, comes with a decent amount of capacity, and you can still use it at out the distance if you want to. Granted, we're civilians, so you can't just pop somebody at 100 yards, but if you had to, at least you can do so with the right amount of training, right? The downsides is that it will be more heavier. It's gonna have more weight than a subcompact, right? It's not gonna have as many rounds as a full-size handgun, and the grip is a little bit bigger, so people with smaller hands, they may have a little bit trouble manipulating those controls. As far as felt recoil, it's a lot better than a subcompact handgun, but a full-size is going to feel better because the more weight you have on the gun, the more it's going to eat up that felt recoil and be smoother to shoot. So again, like I said, I typically recommend a compact size handgun to most people who are looking for their first firearm, because that firearm is going to have to be something used for concealed carry and home defense. Now, for those who already, let's say they have a subcompact or they have a compact and they're looking for a dedicated home defense gun, that's where I recommend something like a Glock 17, a full-size handgun. That full-size handgun is going to be able to carry more ammunition, have a long sight radius, so it's going to be more accurate, right? Granted, that falls into training, but with longer sight radius is going to aid in that. And then with the amount of weight in that full-size handgun is going to eat up a lot of that felt recoil, so it's going to be a lot easier and smoother to shoot than something like a subcompact handgun. But again, if you got really small hands, you might have a little trouble establishing a proper grip, manipulating controls on that handgun. So that's something you're definitely going to have to look into. But typically, a full-size handgun is going to be what you want for a home defense gun. Now, if you do like security, you're an officer, police officer, or something like that, then definitely a full-size handgun is going to be something you want to use. I use a Glock 45, which is like an in-between of a compact and full-size. It has like a Glock 19 slide, so it's shorter on the slide, but it has a 17 frame, so it's able to carry a 17-round magazine. I had 19-round magazines as a backup. So to keep it as simple as possible, those are really the three flavors of handguns you're going to be looking at when you're going out to buy your first handgun: subcompact, compact, and full size. So again, if you're looking for your first gun, you have no firearms, you're looking for something, I recommend you go with a compact size handgun because it's going to be able to blend both roles a lot easier. Now, if you already do, let's say you have a subcompact handgun, then I'm going to recommend that you get a full size. That way you have something that's more adequate for home defense in your house. Now, say you have a full size, then I'm going to recommend you get a subcompact because it's going to be easier for concealed carry. So hopefully this little quick video helps you guys out with that. And if you got any questions, please do put it in the comment box. I do read all the comments. Again, this is not an all-encompassing video. This is just something like, firearms for dummies, just real beginner level stuff for you guys. So again, if you have questions, please do ask me, and I will try my best to help answer those questions. So next question. Locs, I went out and I got my compact size handgun, and I want to be able to conceal carry that firearm. Or question is, what type of holster should I get for that firearm, whether it's subcompact, compact, or full size? Now, there's really two kinds of holsters. There's three, but two of them are basically the same thing. One is just more specific for a certain role. Now, you have IWB, which is inside the waistband, and you have OWB, which is outside the waistband. So typically for concealed carry, you're going to want to look at an IWB holster. Now, in that category of IWB inside the waistband, you're really going to have two type of holsters. You're going to have like just your standard IWB, which is how I classify without the wing or the claw. I'm going to pull out my gun here. So my Glock 43 holster is what you call an AIWB, appendix inside the waistband holster. So it's appendix because I carry it right in my appendix. And typically what separates an AIWB from a regular IWB is this right here. Now this is what you call a wing or a claw, depending on the holster manufacturer. And what this is designed to do, as it's sitting in the front of your pants, and you got your your natural curve of your body, it's supposed to push into your belt, and what does is keep the pistol grip tighter to your body, so it's not printing. You don't have your shirt going over and you see your pistol grip sticking out through your shirt. That's what separates an AIWB from an IWB. So if you're looking to conceal carry your firearm, you're gonna have to look at your body size and what's more comfortable for you. If you carry at the 4 o'clock or near the small of your back, then an AIWB holster is not something you're going to want to look at. You're going to want to get an inside the waistband holster, just a regular one without the claw or wing. Now, if you're looking like you're like me, kind of skinnier, wear baggy shirts, then you're definitely going to want to get an AIWB holster with that claw or that wing, because it's going to help aid in that concealability and keeping that firearm tight to your body, so you're not printing as much. Now, if you don't know what printing is, I kind of mentioned it a little earlier. Printing is basically when you're looking at someone's shirt and you can see like the pistol grip sticking out and basically tell that, oh, they have a gun on them, right? You don't want that. It's not necessarily illegal to print, but you just definitely don't want to give off the signal that you have something on you and letting everybody else know that, hey, this person's armed. So definitely you want to keep that a secret to yourself and to the people, maybe your girlfriend, your husband, who knows that you're carrying, right? If they don't need to know, they don't need to know. So that's what printing is just basically, they can see the firearm in your shirt and it's sticking out. So you want to mitigate that. So that claw, that wing is going to help aid in that and keep that firearm pistol grip tighter to the body, and really makes it very concealable. Now, I'm wearing a wife beater, gone out, and nobody's known because of the claws doing what it's designed to do. Now you're going to want to make sure you have a legitimate concealed carry belt, one that's designed to carry the weight of your firearm, and it's going to be a lot sturdier type belt, one you can't really even bend because it's made of sturdy material, not like a regular leather belt, because over time it's going to bend and fold and it's not going to be ideal for concealed carry and carrying that weight. And you're going to find out it's not very comfortable on you. So that's IWB and AIWB in layman's terms. Appendix inside the waistband for people who are going to carry on their appendix, and IWB for people who are really going to carry at the 4 o'clock or on the small of their back. Now, this other group of holsters, OWB. Now, you can use an OWB holster to conceal carry, but it's outside the waistband, so the gun is outside and it can be easily seen if you don't have like a jacket or like a hoodie that's going over that gun to conceal it. Now, a lot of people tend to wear OWB holsters for like the range, because you're at the gun range, you're not trying to hide the fact that you have a gun. And if you're you got a gun belt, you're running with a rifle, or you're a security officer or a police officer, it keeps your gun readily accessible, so if you need to get to it quickly, you don't have to lift your shirt, then draw the gun. It's right there out in the open. Nothing, or hopefully nothing should be obstructing that firearm, and everything should be clear. So when you go down to grab that gun and draw from the holster, you can present that firearm as fast and as quick as possible. Now, when it comes to OWB, you typically have non-retention and retentioned holsters. What that simply means is that, like, if you look, I'm trying to put a picture like a Safariland holster. There's usually like a nub, or you might have a nub and a hood, depending on the level of retention, level 1, 2, 3, whatever, for that firearm. And what that simply does is keeps that firearm retained in the holster, retention. So if somebody tried to come up behind you, or you were in a tussle with something, or you slipped and fell, that gun is not going to pop out that holster and just go, get away from you. It's going to remain in that holster until you or somebody activates that nub, and then you can draw the firearm. Now, if you're using a retention holster, like, I highly recommend, if you're doing armed security, you're a police officer, to have a retention holster, because again, a lot of times, like when I did armed security for like 5-6 years, you're going to get close in with people. You're going to have people around you. You're supposed to keep a distance, but that's not always possible, right? Things happen. And so you definitely want to keep that gun in that holster as best as possible. So if someone tried to just snatch it out, it's retained, they can't get it, and then you can go through your defensive maneuvers or whatever you're trained to do to get that person off you. Now, you definitely want to train with that holster, because in order for you to draw that firearm, like my specific Safariland is a little nub. So as I go for that pistol, I'm going to have to deactivate that nub with my thumb, establish my grip, then the firearm comes out. And you definitely want to practice that. You don't have to go to gun range. You can honestly do that at home in dry fire practice. Just practice deactivating that nub and drawing the firearm. And you can get pretty quick, honestly. There are people who can do sub-second draws and fire with a retention holster because they practice so much with it. So definitely, if you're going to get an OWB and you're doing some type of role like that, then I recommend you get a OWB holster with retention. Now, if you're doing this for concealed carry, a holster with retention may not be something you want. There's a lot of them that just have, just active retention. It's just actively retained in the holster with just whatever type of tight concealment, grip it has in the holster. So again, that's good because, the gun's not necessarily going to just pop out as easy. But, somebody, if they did see the gun, they could come up behind you and pull that out of your holster and run off with it or use it on you. Or if you're tussling with somebody, you can go to the ground and there is a possibility that they can pop out and get away from you. So there's pros and cons to both. It just really depends on what you're looking to do. So going back through, there are two types of holsters. You got IWB, OWB. IWB, you got inside the waistband, you got an appendix inside the waistband. When it comes to OWB, you got OWB holsters with active retention and without active retention, right? So again, you got to do your research on it. I can probably later on go through more detailed videos, but these are just quick little videos for people who are asking questions to kind of help them out. So hopefully that helps you guys out in your firearm journey. All right, last question of the day. Go ahead and unload here. All right, so when it comes to ammunition, there are really two types of ammunition that you're going to be wanting to run through your firearm. You have FMJ, full metal jacket, and you have hollow points. Now, sometimes they're called JHP, jacketed hollow points. I'm just going to use the terminology of hollow points. Now, I don't have I'm put a picture of the FMJ and the hollow point on the screen, but to keep it as simple as possible, FMJ rounds are for training at the gun range. Hollow points are for self-defense use. Now, FMJ is basically a solid projectile. It's just made to make holes through things. That's why, and they're usually cheaper to make as well. That's why we use those for training. Just made to simply hit cardboard, hit a steel target, or whatever you're using for target practice. Now, hollow points. The hollow points are specifically made for self-defense use because if you can see those lines right there, what those lines do is basically when that bullet hits a human body, right where those lines are, it will fold back almost like a flower petal. I'll put a picture on the screen to show you what an expanded hollow point looks like. And what that is designed to do is dump as much energy and power, granted stopping power is not a real term, but as much energy and power inside that threat, that target as possible, and secondarily remain inside that target so you don't get a pass through where that round hits me and keeps going, maybe goes through the wall and hits something else or somebody else you did not intend to get shot. All right, because again, you're liable for every round you fire, so you definitely want to make sure you deal all the damage to the person who needs to have the damage dealt to. So that's why in self-defense uses, hollow points are highly recommended, and for the training range, FMJ is recommended. Now, I've seen someone put up something like this, and I cannot state in words how wrong that is. Now, I don't know where people get this knowledge from. Usually it's like older people from back in the day. I don't know if that's something that they did back in the day where they stagger their ammunition in their rounds. Please don't ever do that. If you're going to use your firearm for self-defense use, that whole magazine needs to be made with hollow points. If you're going to the gun range, your entire magazine needs to be nothing but FMJ. Now, if you want to take a mag or two and run your hollow points through it to make sure you have functionality and reliability in your handgun, that's perfectly fine. I do the same thing. But when I leave the range and I put that gun back in my holster in my pants to go back out into the world, I have hollow points. I do not do this staggering. And what he said of, if you're going to use it on somebody, shoot the first round at the ground and then shoot the person with the hollow points in there, that is some of the worst advice I've ever heard. You are responsible for every round you fire. So can you imagine being in court with a judge or a jury of 12 people who don't shoot and train, and you tell them, yeah, I just fired my first FMJ round at the ground, and then I fired at the person. Rounds do not just simply hit the ground and stay there. Rounds can ricochet off pretty much anything. Concrete, wood, walls, ceilings, the ground, cars, even water. So the fact that you fire that round off at the ground, like what if you did that and that round hit the ground, ricocheted, and it hit somebody's child? Now you're in court trying to explain why you stagger your magazines like that and why you had to fire at the ground, then get back on target. And two, think that you're going to be in a scenario where you have that type of time to do something like that, which is crazy. Thirdly, the fact that you think only 2 rounds is needed just to stop a target is also crazy as well. You truly do not know how many rounds you are going to need to put down that threat. So you fire those 2 rounds at that guy, but he's high on some type of narcotic or alcohol, some type of substance, and he does not go down and he continues at you. Well, now you're hitting him with FMJ rounds, and those rounds are hitting his body and going straight through him and putting more people in danger. So when I hear that, my mind was blown. And it's crazy because it's not the first time I've heard that. And there was somebody else who liked his comment and replied back, yeah, I do the same thing. Craziness, just absolute craziness, man. Again, FMJ for the range, hollow points for self-defense. That's it, right? Keep it as simple as possible. And if somebody's coming at you with a knife, you're really not going to really even remember to shoot at the ground like that. That's kind of crazy. You're going to see the threat, and you're going to engage that threat. And whatever rounds you have in that gun, that's what you're going to use. And it'd be a shame to defend yourself and your family just to go to court to find out that you shot somebody, one of your rounds went through him and shot somebody that had nothing to do with what was going on. And now you're in jail, sitting there looking stupid, right? So again, guys, try to keep things as simple as possible for you. If you're looking for your first handgun, I recommend a compact handgun. But there are 3 types of handguns when you're going out there to buy: subcompact, compact, full size. When you find your firearm, get a holster for it. And there's 2, really 3 holsters. There's IWB inside the waistband, OWB outside the waistband. When it comes to ammunition types, you have FMJ, which is for the range, hollow points, which is for self-defense. Try to keep it as simple as possible, guys. That's all you really got to do. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I was able to impart some knowledge on you. Again, if you got any questions, please do put in the comment section below. I'm going to be trying to make more videos to help out with you guys. It's kind of hard to always get to the range because, I got me a new job and we're working like 10 plus hours a day digging holes and whatnot. So it's kind of hard to always get to the range and really fire and demonstrate to you. Sometimes I have to do these videos where I'm just talking to you and imparting information. So again, if you got questions, put it down in the comment section below. If you enjoy this educational video, please do give me a like and a thumbs up. Help spread the video so others can see it and get educated as well. But on top of that, stay educated, stay dangerous. LocsNLoad out.